I think there were only like single digits made in that color green.
So what are you looking at?
The one I'm looking at is
Well, power. I'd like to call the meeting to order and welcome all those who are in attendance as well as those watching online. We have a full council present today. Also present are Cliff Gravier, town manager, Terry Tiemann, our assistant town manager, Raylene Menominee, town clerk, Will Wharton, our IT director, and we have a special person here who's joined us for the summer. Sam Sandler is an intern with the town for the summer. He comes from, I guess his family has a house here in town, but he goes to school at Emory University in Georgia. So welcome, Sam. I hope you have a great summer. If we would please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second. Any discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Approval of the minutes of a regular meeting held May the 15th, 2026. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Those in favor? Aye. Thank you. Approval of the financial report. Mrs. Keel.
Thank you, Mayor. This report covers the budget through May 31st, 2026. We are 16% through fiscal year 2027. We have collected 37.9% of our income for the year compared to 36.9% last year. And we've expended 14% of our expense budget compared to 14.7% last year. Recognizing that this report is subject to audit, I move that the council approve this unaudited report.
Do we have a second?
second.
Any discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries. Announcements in recognition of visitors and public comment. I have a few announcements I'd like to make. Bethany's summer season is definitely here, so are our many visitors and property owners. The beach is in good shape, maybe not as enormous as we would like to see it, but we've actually, and I get grief for this sometimes, we've actually benefited from our storms of the winter of 26, as it took away a third of our dune. However, that dune area is now beach, so it enlarges. And all that sand that was in the dune, it's now in the surf and in the beach. So we're doing okay out there, but we do need replenishment. So to bring us back to a full beach. All our crosswalks are in place at all our crossovers now. That took a little bit of time, but it's done. Thank you, DENREC. The Moby mats are installed. Thank you, Public Works. Our parking to the beach ramps are complete. And as you have not seen them down at 1st and 2nd Street, please take a walk down there and take a look. There's great new seating areas, a brand new retaining wall, which is concrete, so it'll last for a long time, and it looks great. The roadway safety projects around town are now complete, including DelDOT right here at Route 1, which just was completed this morning. So all of our pedestrian lights are now operating the way they should. So our many J1 visa students are in town. They're from all over the world. It's amazing. If you've not met one of them, reach out when you're at the store or at a restaurant or in the grocery stores, in the groceries. They're all college students, they're incredibly motivated, and they've really got some wonderful stories if you really, talk to them and engage. They are great. Our police and Mariners, St. Anne's, and St. Martha's churches have all put on events to welcome and orient them. ABC Bicycles, which is from Mariners, has provided bikes for many of them. So thank you them. Thank you, Mariners. The summer programs are in full swing with the 4th of July week soon to arrive. Chris Lawrence, Julie Maluski, and the incredible 4th of July Committee have a great week and weekend in store for all. The report and the report that everyone is waiting for, there will be fireworks this year. 3-inch shells will be fired out over the ocean from Wellington, our normal spot. So thank you. Thank you, Beach, for being nice and large. Thank you, Town Management, and thank you mostly, Fire Marshal. Rich,
You ready?
I know the report everybody's waiting for.
It's a lot to cover this month. First, I want to thank Bob Rush for delivering the report last month when I was having fun in Ireland, and for letting me do it again when I came back. The first thing I wanted to cover is the news about the new medical school. There was an announcement last week that Delaware will finally have its own medical school. It's one of only 3 states in the country, at least that's my understanding, that doesn't currently have a medical school. The state announced that it will establish a medical school in conjunction or in partnership with Thomas Jefferson University. It will initially be open on the Newark campus of the University of Delaware. I know there were a lot of people hoping that the location of the school would be more downstate, but my understanding is that the terms of the grants, the way the money was given to the state, it was required that the medical school be up and running by 2028, and the state determined, I think logically, that there was no way to do it other than in Newark if we're going to do it in that kind of a time frame. But my understanding of the way the program works is the first 2 years of medical school, which are largely classroom work anyway, will be up in Newark, but the last 2 years will be primarily clinical work aimed at the 2 counties down here, or the other 2 counties in the state. So we will be getting some benefit of having additional healthcare work down here in the lower counties versus the upper county, I guess. And I want to say one other thing about that. They're working on some rules, as I understand it, to arrange for a situation where if a newly minted doctor commits to practice at least 5 years in a rural institution, which I guess would be Beebe, Bay Health, and Tidal Health, down here in this part of the state, after 5 years, their debts would be forgiven. So I don't know how that's going to work, but if that does work, that'll be a great development in terms of getting folks to come down here and hopefully stay down here after those 5 years are done. So I think that's really good development. The next thing I want to talk about, which is somewhat controversial, is the offshore windmill project. We've talked a lot about that. It just won't die, at least not completely. Last week, the Trump administration, the Trump administration had filed an appeal from a federal court case ruling that the administration had overstepped itself in freezing all permitting for these wind energy projects. The lower court ruled that they could not do that. That was an invalid step by the administration. The administration then promptly filed an appeal and then just as promptly withdrew the appeal. They haven't said why they withdrew the appeal, and we don't know what's going to happen yet. I know that the attorney generals who had been opposing the permitting issue from the administration, including our attorney general here, Kathy Jennings in Delaware, are perceiving this as a victory, at least a momentary victory. So no matter how you look at it, at least it's more likely that they might move forward than it was, I guess, a couple weeks ago. So it's something to keep an eye on, but it just won't completely die. Then the last issue, or not the last, but the next issue is the state legislature and what's going on in Dover. I've got Ron Gray here in the audience, so if I say anything wrong, Ron, just point it out, quietly. I just wanted to point out a couple of things. The state budget was approved. It's $6.99 billion. That's a fair amount of money. And they're still trying to work on some issues associated with the assessment issues, which I think are more of a problem in Newcastle than they are down this part of the state anyway. I don't think they've finished that. They only have one more legislative day to do it, but they're working their way towards that. I do want to focus on three bills that I think might affect us here in Bethany. The first of those bills, two of these have been enacted. One has not yet been, at least my understanding, has not yet been enacted. The first is House Bill 363, which is a bill that allows for changes of residential speed limits from either 20, or establishment of speed limits from either 20 or 25 miles an hour within municipality streets if the municipality owns the streets. You can't do it in state-owned things. And in doing that, you don't have to go through what I think was a costly engineering process, study process for making changes before that. So it allows states or municipalities, if they want to lower the speed limits within their residential areas. I don't know what our town will do, but I think our town can now take advantage of this new law. The second one, which has been a lot of talk about this one, is Senate Bill 23, which is the affordable housing bill. I want to point out it's a very significant bill, but it only applies to towns that have more than 2,000 in population. So from that point of view, we need to keep an eye on it, but unless we have significant growth, and we are having growth, we've got a ways to go before we fall into that number. But what that bill did is it established a requirement within the comprehensive housing plans for states, for municipalities and counties to adopt an affordable housing plan. They told you in the bill that you had to adopt one, and they told you what kinds of steps you had to do in the process of adopting it. It ties the hands of the municipalities, I think, and the counties in ways that the counties and municipalities don't want that to happen. In the process, it looks like they've administratively taken some procedures away by which residents could challenge the establishment of these facilities or developments in their jurisdiction. So it seems to have taken a little bit of flexibility away from people who live in the towns, and that's, at least in my mind, perhaps not a good thing. I just want to point out that at the same time that they did it, in the same week that they did that, Realtor.com came out with a report on home construction and affordability. Delaware had been last year number 19 in terms of new developments and affordability. It ironically just jumped up to number 7. So, even though this bill was passed because they thought it needed to be passed, it looks like we've been doing pretty well anyway, or we're doing better anyway in the state. So it's ironic that they both happen in the same week, at least to me. And then the third is House Bill 430. This is the one that is under consideration, at least to my knowledge, has not yet been passed by both houses. It's been passed by the House, but not yet by the Senate. They've only got one more day to do it, so I don't know what's going to happen. And this is the bill that would say that only natural persons can vote in state and local elections. Previously, if you owned a property in a corporation or an LLC or what have you, it would be permissible for municipalities to let you vote. For reasons that I'm not quite sure about, they've decided that they want to change that so only natural persons can vote. A lot of jurisdictions in this state will have to change their charter if this thing gets enacted. The procedure for amending, this is a constitutional amendment rather than just a bill. So the procedure is this Congress, this assembly would have to approve it, and it would have to be considered and approved again in the next assembly. So it's not a done deal yet. Even if they act on it next Tuesday and pass it, it still has to go through another assembly to get approval. It's possible the way Bethany does its voting, where we allow persons that have trust situations where individuals are listed in the trust documents to vote, it's possible that we'll have to change our rules here if this thing gets enacted. So it's something to keep an eye on. We'd have to either make procedural changes or potentially a charter change. So that's something to keep an eye on for us.
Can I ask a question on that one?
Sure.
If you are a resident, you would still be able to vote.
Well, if you're a resident that owns it and you're a name,
It has to be in your name, not in the
yes.
trust.
If you're a trust, if you're a beneficiary of a trust and you're named in the trust,
Yeah.
like we allow now, there's a chance, depending on how this thing is interpreted, because the trust could be considered an artificial entity.
Okay.
And if it is, we might not be able to allow.
Well, suppose you rent, you can still vote if you live here.
Well, it's only going to affect people who own their property in a trust or a corporation or LLCs, which are growing by leaps and bounds. That's what it's aimed at.
Okay.
Unless we rent our homes from our LLCs.
We'll have to wait and see how that's all interpreted. I just report, I don't explain.
This is getting complicated.
And the last thing I wanted to point out is, I know we're talking about all these historic milestones here in Bethany and in the United States this year, but I wanted to mention another one that just came up last week, and that was Delaware's Separation Day. Most people don't know what that is. But before the Revolutionary War, Delaware was actually not Delaware. Delaware was actually part of Pennsylvania. And on June 15th, 1776, the Delaware Assembly voted to not only separate from the British monarchy, but to separate themselves from Pennsylvania. So from that point forward, Delaware was never part of Pennsylvania anymore. The reason I wanted to bring that up is, as a Washington Nationals fan, I've been watching the last 4 very painful games against Philadelphia, and I just want to.
How were they painful?
I just want to point out.
I thought they were the
that-
great
It didn't seem
games, actually.
painful to me at all.
I just want to point out,
Just the first one.
it's the 250th anniversary of formally acknowledging that it's okay not to support the Philadelphia Phillies. Some might interpret this differently, but that's my interpretation.
Excellent report.
So anyway, and that's my report.
Not that this council is divided.
I'm still in pain. I'm still in pain.
Okay. Is that it?
That's enough.
Okay. Thanks, Rich. Before we get into reports, is there anyone present who would like to make a public comment? Seeing none, we have one. Okay. Jim, would you please, you know the drill, state your name and address, please.
My name is James McGrath. I live at 507 Hudson Avenue. 507 backs up to about the 600 block of Garfield Parkway. My property is right behind that. To get it, it goes from Hudson Avenue, which is right down the street, to the pumping station. It's about 100 yards. Everybody kind of familiar with what I'm talking about? Yeah. Every Saturday morning for the last, coming up on 2 years, between 9 and 11 o'clock, a group of people come out there to, just make noise. I'm going to say make noise. I really don't pay attention what exactly they're doing, but they make noise and they cause a lot of people to make noise, mostly cars going by, with encouragement to the people there by beeping their horns, or cars going by who don't seem to like what they're saying, and they're beeping their horns, and you get some pretty foul language there. Some of it's pretty interesting, and some of it's kind of entertaining, but I contacted the police, and I got the, what seemed to be a rehearsed response. They have a right to protest, and if that's what I agree with that. But I have a right to peace and quiet, and so don't my neighbors on Saturday mornings. And we've been tolerating this with a few complaints for, like I said, almost 2 years, something like that. Year and a half. Last Saturday, it was pretty ridiculous. A lot of noise. And I actually did call the police, and a policeman came by and acknowledged that there was a lot of noise. He acknowledged that it's against the law to beep your horn for no reason. But then he said they have a right to protest, and see you, I'm leaving. My request to you and to them, and sometimes I'm really addressed rudely, is to go someplace else. You've been here for too long. There's a lot of other places you could go to, whatever you're doing, in Bethany. Why have you picked my neighborhood? One of the ladies, a real princess, told me, we have a permit. And I'm like, oh, really? So I asked the police officer, who issues the permit? And he was like, so I'm going to ask you all, who issues the permit?
They've never been issued a permit, and they don't need a permit to assemble.
So
And
she
we've-
was lying to me?
We've been, well, I don't know what she said to you, but
She
they've
said they
never
had a
been issued-
permit.
Well,
Sounds like a lie. I was going to say, take the permit. But if they don't have a permit, I was going to say, give them a permit to go someplace else. But if they don't have a permit,
Jim, they don't need a permit to assemble where they do. And we've been through this in great detail with our solicitor about their right to assemble. They can assemble in front of your house, on the street in front of your house, and do what they do. And we also know that most of the noise comes from those passerbys, not from the group that's there. And there's no real place else we can think of to ask them to go, and they don't have to. So they're comfortable there. We've talked to them about coming down to the park. They like that area. They like that area where they are, and that's where they want to assemble. And if we could do something different about it, regardless of anybody's political perspective, we would, but we can't.
It's kind of similar to the times when you've seen the large assemblies over here in the park that have occurred, I don't know, 3 or 4 times, and it's public property. They have a right, First Amendment right, to express their feelings on public property.
I mean, I thought I could force them to go to the park. I can't.
can you ask them?
I believe that the police chief and the police department has had conversations with them about moving, and again, I think they want to be where they are.
You know, we got a dilemma here because myself, my wife, and our neighbors have the right to peace and quiet. And we're not getting that. I know that's not in the Constitution, I don't think, is it? But can we ask them with a little more, why don't you go someplace else? Like right here, which is, I thought maybe you ran them off of here.
No?
Why don't you ask them to go back?
Okay.
Little help? I get the feeling that some of you council people are kind of supporting this dog and pony show.
I don't think anybody's supporting them at all. It's just a matter of,
So can you ask them to move someplace else?
well, I think they've been asked, would they move someplace else? And they'd rather not.
So there's no permit, and you've asked, and they said no.
Well, they never have a permit when
So this is going to go on until whenever.
It may go on for a little while.
I don't think it's a good face for Bethany. Some of
Yeah.
y'all, I don't know, think about it, come up with some solution, move them someplace else.
I mean, we'll talk to them again, see what we can do. Thank you. Anybody else like to have anything to say? Thank you very much. We'll now move into reports. Report from the Charter and Ordinance Review Committee.
Oh, that's me again.
You're back up again.
I'm up again. The Charter and Ordinance Review Committee, or CORC, met on Friday, April 24th, after several years of resting. Because it had been a while since we'd met, we started this first meeting with a consideration of the obligations and functions of the committee, which include consideration of proposed amendments to ordinances when appropriate, or potentially changes to the town's charter if necessary, although that's much more infrequent an activity. We did discuss a couple topics that we were going to start working on. I'll go through those very quickly. One is a potential change to the building code because of an issue that came up, a requirement that we didn't think was being done consistently with the practice. That will be in the form of a proposed amendment that will be brought up next month, or next 2 weeks, I guess, 3 weeks from now, at the council for consideration at that time. A very minor issue. The second thing that came up was a request that we consider, and we've started that consideration of review of the ordinances as they relate to sheds and similar structures in towns, and whether our ordinances are adequate or exact enough as to what the conditions for building sheds and maintaining sheds on properties are. So that's ongoing now. The third thing we talked about is the possibility of sending a survey, actually. We thought one of the things that came up at the meeting is, gee, the people that probably know most about what ordinance changes might be necessary, the people who are the department heads in our government, and perhaps what we should be doing is sending them sort of a survey, asking them what they think about other areas that they see changes to be had. That survey is getting drafted now, and it's late because I haven't finished it, but it will be coming to you, Cliff. And if Cliff approves it, then it'll go out to the department heads, asking them for information about that. And the last one that we talked about, which I think is kind of interesting, kind of techie, is whether we can use AI as a way to, our ordinances have been written by various people at various times, and there's inconsistencies, different writing styles and so forth within them. The question is, can we find a way to use AI to streamline our ordinances to make them better written and eliminate some kind of inconsistencies? And, that's going to be a longer-term project, but I think there is a way to do it. And in theory, we could do it for all of our ordinances, although that may take a long, long time to do. So we're looking into that as well. And that's it.
Okay, thank you, Rich. Report from the Audit Committee. I don't think anybody's here from the Audit Committee. Okay. Report from Planning and Zoning Commission. Mr. Rush.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Planning and Zoning Commission last met on Saturday, May 16th. Some of the new business that was addressed during that session was the DRB Group of Eastern Shore LLC requested a subdivision for 2 parcels known as Block 15, Lot 15, and Block 15, Lot 16 into 3 lots. Those are the 2 unimproved lots across from St. Anne's on the west side of the Bethany West entrance. They wanted to divide them to then develop plans for 2 single-family dwellings as well as a duplex in the middle. It was approved. Both met the minimum lot area and street frontage code requirements, so those were approved during the meeting. We also discussed and voted on an amendment to Chapter 500 swimming pools of the town code with respect to dewatering, which I'll talk about in new business in a bit. Old business that was covered is there was a good discussion around the framing of a white paper that will come to the council with respect to the quite large book of work that we're working on around different site design requirements and criteria. So that's something that respective folks from the commission are working on, and when we meet again I believe we're meeting in July, there is no meeting tomorrow, if anyone's thinking of that. So that's the primary points of business and the update for the planning and zoning.
Okay, thank you, Bob. 4th of July Committee, I believe Mrs. Hardeman is going to provide the report.
Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Lawrence couldn't be here today. He's at a wedding. So we drew straws, and I lost. Or he lost. Okay, the 4th of July Parade Committee held its most recent meeting on Tuesday, May 19th. And while the calendar said May, our conversations were all about the summer and celebrating this extra special 4th of July. Between bands, bicycles, volunteers, T-shirts, and float registrations, preparations for Bethany Beach's favorite hometown tradition are moving right along. As a reminder, this year's parade, themed Stars, Stripes, and Shorelines, will take place on Friday, July 3rd at 12 noon. The float registration opened online in late April and is available on the town's website by clicking Activities, then 4th of July. As always, early registrations help our team organize the parade lineup and makes the day of process smoother for everyone involved. This year, parade participants will have a little extra incentive to bring their creativity and patriotic flair. We'll present 5 parade float awards. The categories are the Spirit Award, the Bethany Cup, which is for local business entries, Bethany's 125th Anniversary Award, USA's 250th Anniversary Award, and also, of course, the Best of Parade. Winners will be notified, excuse me, at the conclusion of the parade and recognized during a special presentation at 7:15 at the bandstand, immediately before the evening performance. And the performance this year will be the Funsters, who will take their place at 7:30. Winning floats will receive plaques and something especially fitting for this year's celebration, a commemorative ornament recognizing Bethany Beach's 125th founding anniversary. Local businesses will also compete for bragging rights and the coveted Best of Bethany trophy. Winners have their business names engraved to highlight their parade glory. Entertainment for this year's parade is shaping up nicely with 6 bands scheduled to participate, including the 287th Army National Guard Band and the Tidewater Brass Band. Along with our musical lineup, the committee is excited to once again offer the popular bicycle decoration station. The town's Bicycle and Pedestrian Safety Committee will also provide bike safety materials through the WAVE program. As the parade continues to grow, so does our focus on safety. Additional guidance is being shared with families participated in the bicycle portion of the parade, reminding parents and children to stay together, to remain clear of pedestrians along the route, and to maintain a safe distance from moving parade vehicles. And this latter one is very important because last year we had a complaint from one of the drivers of the truck that kids were riding along on the bicycle and holding on to the truck. So we're really trying to make an effort to make it safer this year. And speaking of safety, we need some help. And this is our ad. Pay attention. This is public service announcement. The committee is currently seeking at least 5 additional parade marshals, which is a wonderful job, a wonderful opportunity. You get out there, you have a vest, you have a whistle, and best of all, you can tell people where to go. So if you want to volunteer, it's a wonderful job. We have a lot of fun, and you'll love it. To assist along the route, marshals help keep the parade moving. They prevent pedestrians from wandering into moving traffic, and they provide an extra set of eyes to keep everyone safe. Plus, there's a good chance of earning a free lunch, wearing an orange vest, and getting free parking, and becoming the temporary owner of a very important whistle. Notice he said temporary. If that's the case, I don't want to use them next year. With just 14 exclusive opportunities to buy this year's 4th of July T-shirt, and I would add that quickly running out, both the T-shirts and the opportunities. We know when we run out, there will no doubt be some T-shirt envy. Rumor has it that last year's T-shirts sold out, that when they sold out, the black market price for a 4th of July T-shirt was nearly double. So buy direct, save yourself money, and help support the parade. T-shirts are available while supplies last, and last night Jerry and I were selling T-shirts, and I can tell you they're going very quickly. And if anyone wants a medium or a large short-sleeve T-shirt, they are sold out, but they will be available at 6 o'clock on Sunday up at the bandstand. The committee continues to make excellent progress and is looking forward to another memorable celebration of our nation's independence and Bethany Beach's milestone 125th anniversary. So on behalf of Chris, thank you.
Thank you, Rosemary. Wonderful report. And I know it's going to be a tremendous parade. Next to go is the Bicycle and Pedestrian Safety Committee.
Okay.
Mr. Hinman?
And Teresa? Thank you very much. It's never a good thing to follow Rosemary. It's always a challenge. But we wanted to give you a little bit of an update on our team and what we're doing. And if I can...
Bummer, his slides are.
Oh, well. So much for that report. Uh-oh, we cut you off, Mick.
He finally found a way.
Finally got you. Oh,
So,
nuts.
Before I get into this, though, I do want to just highlight something because it really became somewhat pronounced as we've been working with other towns and communities. We have something very unique in our town, our pedestrian and bicycle safety. There's a lot of towns that don't even have a standing committee. And we have on our committee the chief of police and our director of events and planning. And they play critical roles. I mean, we really take our absolute direction from a ordinance, from a rules, from a law perspective, from the chief, Foley, and as well from the communication perspective from Julie. So what we have is really pretty unique in terms of how we integrate all those together. So we have those teams, and our challenge, the rest of the team's challenge, is really to try to get the word out, to engage as much as we can. So that's, again, it's really sort of unique. We get a chance to meet and talk with the other town members, or the other towns, and no one has it quite set up like this. And it's, I think it's just kudos to the whole town and support team for that. But this is just a thank you. The mayor really mentioned this a little bit already, but I want to thank the council. We want to thank the council and the entire town. We've had 4 really big projects this year, infrastructure projects to improve safety. And I won't go through, these are all the ones you see here. We've sort of alluded to them. But those are significant projects that we've taken an initiative to fund, get done, because we think it's so critical around safety. So again, thank you to the rest of the council and the team for that. So now I want to move a little bit into the next piece is around engagement. We've done, this has been a very active month of engagement at a number of different levels. The first one we had, this was a little bit unique this year. We combined, the chief police department combined the shoplifting seminar with safety, with the businesses. So the whole idea, since we had an audience with the businesses, was to sort of focus on both topics. So Sergeant Sharp and Officer Ryan both covered that, and it was really a great start. The next day, we had the J1 seminar that Chief Foley has really been a proponent, very active proponent of. Officer Tressler actually led that this year and coordinated it. Just a great interaction of the J1 students. But it wasn't just sort of fun and games. It was really, as you can see there was a lot of interaction, but there was teaching going on. We had a representative from the ABC team, St. Martha's, Bethel Mariners, who actually took the students through, I think we had 35 or 40, through a sort of a classroom section of a session of about a half hour, and then they went and actually practiced those skills in the back of St. Anne's. So it was sort of a learn and then actually apply that, in addition to the interactions we had.
And Mickey, just
Carl and Diane were there as well, handing things out for us.
I was just going to say, I've seen them out on the road. I ride a lot.
Yeah.
And I came up behind a group more than once, and they had the backpacks on.
Yep.
They had everything on.
Yep.
And they were being quite safe.
Right.
So.
And actually, in part of this, we had a special recognition yesterday we had our June meeting yesterday, and Mike Shriver from the ABC Mayor's Bethel presented a special recognition to Chief Foley for his contributions to it. So it was really nice. That was a nice surprise he had. He obviously was very gracious and thanked the rest of his team, which is great, and they deserve credit, but also that leadership starts at the top. So it was great to see him get that recognition. Another one of the things that we had was the St. Martha's reception this week. This is another great event that they host where they bring the J1 students together, a nice meal, and a great opportunity to interact. And so what we basically do is divide up and we go and just talk with each group, each table, in a very informal way. We offer up reflectors and other things, but we really try to talk about what are the risks, what are the concerns, and the responsibility they have to keep themselves safe. So it's a great interaction, and it's a really, again, hats off to St. Martha's for facilitating that, and we're just very thrilled to participate. Another key thing and this goes back to the police department, they've initiated, and this is under Chief Foley, this imagination team. right? And he's taking a couple of his younger officers, and they're trying to think out of the box in terms of how to engage the community. So they've come up with this somewhat of a checklist, but this is actually going to be displayed prominently on the boardwalk. We're probably going to create some handouts of this that we can actually, as we're having conversations with people, hand this out. But it's, again, a great idea of sort of trying to think, what's our next step about how can we engage and talk to people in a focused way, but in a fresh way to sort of raise their awareness around safety. And the last one, I don't know if this is going to play, Will, but this was actually if you could stop it for just a second, let me see if I could set it up. So this was a nice, because of Chief Foley's reputation really across the state, the Office of Highway Safety reached out to him to put together, so they're doing some videos on a number of different topics, but they reached out to him to put together something around pedestrian safety. So this is actually going to debut, next week. So you're seeing a preview of this, and this is truly an Oscar-winning kind of performance. So if you want to watch something, stay tuned for the red carpet next year when Chief and his wife show up. Go ahead, Will, if you don't mind.
Yeah, Hollywood will be out here looking.
That's right.
I'm Chief Patrick Foley of the Bethany Beach Police Department. Our population increases from 1,200 full-time residents to nearly 30,000 visitors on any given weekend in the summer. To get to the beach safely, our visitors have to cross many major roads. Coastal Highway is one of them.
To make crossing safer for pedestrians, we've installed numerous special pedestrian crossings, like this one, using rapid, rectangular, flashing beacons. When a pedestrian hits the button, it activates an orange flashing light, which alerts drivers that pedestrians are present. The pedestrian waits for all drivers to come to a stop, and then safely crosses. Unfortunately, too many people hit the button and then just dart across the road, not looking to see if traffic has actually stopped, and that's dangerous. A lot of our visitors are very distracted. We call it vacation break. They're pushing strollers and carrying all kinds of gear, just trying to get to the beach.
Our police department regularly goes out into the community to educate pedestrians.
We remind them that they have to wait for cars to stop and lights to change. They have to let drivers know their intentions by making eye contact or giving a wave. And at night, wear light colors and carry a flashlight so they can be seen. And drivers need to slow down and look up for pedestrians and pedestrian crossings, especially in resort towns like this one.
When pedestrians and drivers work together, everyone has a great summer. Walk safe, everyone, and see you at the beach.
And you know he's a star because he has his sunglasses on.
Yeah, exactly. But again, really a nice tool that is going to be used across the state, and we're obviously going to be able to take advantage of that within the town. So I'd like to turn it over to Teresa to talk about our next step with this, with the digital piece that Julie's leading.
So a few years ago, our committee, along with the town, hired an actor and a video production company to make these little safety snippets. So we're looking to make additional ones, which will probably happen this fall, I would imagine.
Yep.
They will be more focused on bicycle safety because the state program focused on pedestrian safety. But I also want to take a moment to make sure everyone noticed that the lights now work at this intersection. So you can cross safely at the intersection, and thank the town staff and the mayor and Representative Gray and Senator Hocker for shaking that loose at Del Dot for us before the holiday weekend.
Great. So again, this last piece is really working under the guidance and leadership of Julie Maluski.
Yes.
Who's our digital lead or our events coordinator. But what we're going to do is put together, again, I thank the town for the council for their support. We're going to put together, as Julie talked, or Teresa talked about, some videos that are very short, 30 to 90 seconds, but they're all going to be focused on the town, right? They're going to be on the specific intersections and challenges we have on how to do things correctly. It's going to be in a sort of an interactive kind of process. So we're really excited about that.
Yes.
So that'll be sort of our next step. So thank you all. Any questions? Thank you, Mayor. Any from the town council?
Your committee is amazing. You get so much involvement from them. I mean, over at St. Martha's the other night, you had your army over there.
We're an active group.
You are an
We're an
active
active
group,
group.
for sure. So that was great.
Thanks, Will.
Thank you for all you're doing.
Yep.
So, next report is the Seaside Craft Show. Mrs. Holloway.
Yes.
The Seaside Craft Show Committee met on May 28th and June 3rd to take care of pre-craft show committee responsibilities, such as putting together artisan welcome packets, name tags, etc. The 20th annual Bethany Beach Seaside Craft Show was held on Saturday, June 6th. It was a hot, I'll emphasize that, hot, it was like 95 degrees, sunny day with, at times, a very strong breeze. The committee was glad we didn't have to worry about rain, though. But due to the high wind gusts we had throughout the day, the committee did decide to end the show an hour early at 4 p.m. instead of 5 p.m. But this did not deter from the success of the show. From our artisan surveys, 96% of the artisans stated they would definitely recommend the show to other artisans. 88% of the artisans rated it as a successful show, income-wise, for them. And we need that so they keep coming back. Half of these specifically remarked how well-run, well-organized the show was, and that the volunteers and committee members were helpful and nice the day of the show. Contributing greatly to making this event well-run and well-organized are the Bethany Beach Police, particularly Corporal Nicholas Lano and the seasonal officers, Brett Warner and the other Public Works staff members, and Nick Imperial and the parking department. We could not do this event without their assistance both before and after the event. I know that some of our volunteers are with us today, so the committee would like to thank you for your hard work, especially arriving for duty at 5:15 a.m. And we will definitely next year have coffee at 5:15 a.m. It will not arrive at 6. That was our one criticism. 5:15 a.m., we will put a coffee in your hand. Plus, all the volunteers did such a wonderful job that they need to mark Saturday, June 5th, 2027 on their calendars for the 21st annual Bethany Beach Seaside Craft Show. If you didn't want to be asked back, you shouldn't have done such a good job. But you're all, Carol will not let you leave the council meeting next May without signing up, I'm sure. But thank you, and are there any questions?
Great. Thank you, Paula. Great report. Next report, Police Accountability Committee. Mrs. Hardman.
Double duty.
Thank you, Mayor. The Police Accountability Committee held its second quarterly meeting of 2026 on June 2nd. Since the last meeting in March, Chief Foley talked about some of the notable community events in which officers participated, including Back the Blue Caravan at the Fenwick Island State Park during Police Week, Sussex Tech High School for a law enforcement memorial by the student body, excuse me, and they provided presents. They provided a presence along with Bethany Beach lifeguards for the planned Indian River High School senior sunset gathering of over 100 seniors on the beach. And at the Poseidon, they were at the Poseidon Festival. They had a community relations event with handouts and bike lights, and they participated in the first responder rally at Hudson Field in Milton. Excuse me. Chief also reported on the use of grant monies received from the Federal Office of Highway Safety. These grants provide for additional patrols, in addition to the normal patrols, the two-people patrols, and they target issues such as DUI, distracted driving, speeding, reckless driving, seatbelt, and cell phone enforcement. As a result of the grants, the police department had 88 additional hours in April and 70 in May geared towards one or more of these specific issues. The chief pointed out that these additional hours were possible only because of the commitment of our officers who provide staffing and coverage during what would normally be their time off. So they are really committed, and we all know that. The police department held 2 programs in June, and Mickey has already talked about them. The Shoplifting Theft Prevention Seminar, which was geared towards business owners and presented by Sergeant Chuck Sharp. And the second one was the PD's annual, 3rd annual Student Bike Safety Seminar for J1 students. He also talked about the year-round seasonal police recruitment process, of which he and the whole police department and all of us are very proud. He said that he explained that begins the day after Labor Day each year in anticipation for the next year. The officers recruit heavily from the criminal justice departments of their own alma maters and also at job fairs and on social media. As a result, they hired 10 new recruits and they have 5 returning officers. 2 of the officers had previously been interns in our PD. We have a relationship with Sussex Tech High School, and they have a criminal justice track. And we've partnered with them for the past 3 years, and for the past 2 years, we've had interns, and 2 of those were hired as seasonal officers this year. They have 206 mandated hours of training, and he said because of the vetting process and the training they receive, many of our seasonals are hired by local, state, and federal agencies, including the Secret Service and the FBI. He added that the seasonal program is an absolute asset to the agency and that they could not function as effectively without them. They are one of the only CALEA agencies that have seasonal officers. The police department has hired 3 administrative assistants, and they're working at the front desk as receptionists at the front desk in the police department. They are also from Sussex Tech High School. They deal with parking complaints at the front window as well as visitors, and they assist the administrative assistant. And through the program in the high school, they are also certified as dispatchers, so that helps the police department greatly. Chief and DC Norman explained that they explained to us the Bethany Beach Police Department and CALEA policies regarding initiating, continuing, and terminating a vehicle pursuit, and the risk-reward analysis involved in determining whether to disengage or continue a pursuit. The chief said that the town had been relying on DelDOT for drone coverage of protests and other events, but now the agency has 2 drones of its own, and they have 4 trained pilots, Chief Foley, DC Norman, Corporal Rogers, and PFC Contorno. And they're good to go with the parade, the fireworks, and other events, including children who are lost on the beach. Finally, the PD is in the process of interviewing, doing background checks, and testing applicants for a full-time officer position. They had over 20 applicants, and the chief said they hope to make a selection by mid-August. And that completes my report.
Thank you. Thank you, Rosemary. The next report is the Non-Residential Design and Review Committee. Mr. Rush.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Council, the last non-residential design review committee was held on June 5th. There was 1 piece of business to review, discuss, and vote on the approval of 2 new window signs as well as a new awning for the new By the Bay Creamery on 26 North Pennsylvania Avenue. The application as submitted met all requirements and it was approved without exception. No other business was discussed. And as of today, there's no pending applications from a non-residential.
Okay. Thank you, Bob.
Yep.
And I can report firsthand that their ice cream is pretty good.
It's good. All right.
Must be the sign.
Going there this weekend. It was the fast approval.
Report from the town manager.
Mayor, if you're suffering from report fatigue, we can skip my report.
We're getting close to it.
Okay. It's been mentioned a couple of times that the pedestrian lights at this intersection are finally working. It's been a number of weeks since they've been installed, since we believe that the necessary wiring was in place, And we've been engaged with Del Dot contractors for a number of weeks, with everyone doing this, pointing here, pointing there about why they weren't functional. Finally, almost out of desperation, we did something that we don't normally do because we appreciate the great services that the state provides us. But the mayor finally contacted our legislators, Representative Gray, yesterday, and by noon today, the lights were working. So in terms of how things work, I guess we'll start calling them once a week for things that we need.
I wonder how they can do with DENREC.
Really. Public Works, and I think the council that's toured the yard a couple of times, probably really taken aback about the actual facilities of Public Works for Public Works personnel. It's almost hard to describe the 10 or 12, 14 people full-time growing to 20-plus here in the summer season, how they survive and exist in the environment that they do. And one of the things that we've asked our engineer to take a look at, Pennoni engineer in this case, is what a facility for personnel might look like. And we have finally been given a draft, if you will, of location and a rough idea of what the interior of the facility might look like. It would be 2 stories, and it would be located on the southern end of the property, running parallel to the southern border. This would involve taking down the open structure, the open Butler building, the one that's open-faced there. Public Works doesn't get much utility out of that because it's not enclosed, and would see some of the things that are there going to Blackwater. This is our first look at this. It's just come in the last day or two. Please take a look at it. We'll have more information going forward. And as I say in my written report, since there's no cost estimate, I'm sure it's very inexpensive here. So
I'm not sure I've seen anything go through. It's inexpensive.
yes, really.
Give a large font for this.
No, yes. Our nature center has been closed since spring, early spring, and one of the reasons it's not been open is because we've been engaged in conversations with the Delaware Nature Society about overseeing the operation of the nature center. We've had one preliminary discussion last month and another one in the last week or two. Those discussions are going very well. The Nature Society would operate the center, would be responsible for staffing and programming. We would help support that. But in terms of programs availability and interaction with all the things they do in the state, this, I believe, would be a great fit. We're waiting on a draft proposal from them, a contract, if you will, to bring to the council for the council to review, discuss, and hopefully approve. But that's something that's looking very positive, and I think they have an interest in trying to have that up and operational at least sometime this summer to benefit from the summer crowds and summer attendance there. So that's a very positive thing for us. Our bid opening for our next 2 large projects, which will be the southeast corner of the Central Park, where the area is finished for the crosswalk with pavers and a walkway into the park, and also the plaza retaining wall that will be built under the brick pavers at the plaza for the boardwalk. The bid opening for that will be May 9th. Construction for the plaza will occur significantly after the shoulder season, and we would look for the corner of the park construction to begin sometime in September. Pre-bid meeting was well attended, so that makes us hopeful that we'll have a number of bidders and have some competition with that work. Parking, council people ask how parking looks and often want to know how we compare year to year. And one of the reasons we do that is we gauge attendance, we gauge how many people are in the community. Surprisingly, last year, parking, the spring, the early season was rainy, it was wet, it was cold, and we thought we had a very, very large fall off in terms of people here in Bethany, simply based on coin revenue from pay to park. This year, we've had a lot of sun. the beach, while not the best, has been fairly accommodating, and it's really surprising to see that there's been very little difference in revenue, $7,000 between this year and last year in terms of trying to gauge how many people have been in the community. And the only real increase we've seen in parking this year is probably a result of the changes we've made with residential parking in the beach lots. Overall, parking is, at this point in time, up 5% compared to last year. Labor Day weekend, 2 or 3 years ago, when we had to cancel a fireworks show, and we were able to reschedule that on Labor Day weekend. That was very well received, I think, by businesses and by visitors and residents. And this year, we've had a conversation with the chamber. The chamber had to cancel their fire and ice drone show because of weather conditions, and they're sitting there with the drone show available. And we had a conversation about the possibility of partnering with them, sharing some expense where they would be responsible for the production of the drone show, and we would pick up the portion of the responsibility for having a small fireworks show as part of the drone show. And that seems like something that may come to fruition with the council's approval for Labor Day weekend. It would be the Sunday of Labor Day weekend following the Jesse Garon show, and something I think could be very positive, and possibly we could wrap the whole weekend. July 4th, we'll celebrate with fireworks our 250th anniversary. Possibly we can make Labor Day weekend about celebrating the town's 125th. So that's something that's in development. I know that when I had the conversation with Julie Molesky, she cringed about the idea, but I think we can get her on board with it. So it's something I think we can anticipate and will move forward and be a very positive thing for the end of summer for the town. And Mayor, that's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Cliff. I know Julie's got a full plate, but...
She certainly does, yes.
But we'll have to give her a bigger plate. Before we go into new business, I'd like to state that there will be an opportunity for the public to address questions on agenda items after initial council discussion and before council votes. There is no old business, new business. This is a first reading. Discussion, consideration of an ordinance to amend Chapter 500, swimming pools of the town code, to add a definition for dewatering and a section that addresses best dewatering practices. Mr. Rush.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Council, you will recall a couple meetings ago, we had a white paper that framed the issue and the permission for the commission to go back and draft the amendment that was in your briefing pack. To be clear, the ask was to go back and define what dewatering was, incorporate best practices, and then address what code amendments would be necessary as a result of adding the new code to that. So in your briefing pack, you will have seen the proposed amendment. What I intend to do is to read the synopsis, not the whole amendment, and then we can have a discussion. So synopsis, these amendments codify the procedures followed by the town when dewatering is necessary prior to construction of a pool or spa, and that it is done properly to prevent erosion on public and private property, as well as to prevent releasing contaminants into the surrounding waterways. So,
Okay.
Open for discussion, first reading.
Is there any comment or any discussion?
No.
Anybody in the audience have anything to add? And this is just a first reading,
reading.
so this will come up again at next council meeting for an actual vote and
Great.
further discussion if necessary.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Thank you, Bob. Next item, discussion, consideration, and possible vote on a revised scope of services proposal for the Water Department's clarifier project submitted by engineering firm Johnson, Mirman, and Thompson, known as JMT, in the amount of $188,150. Mr. Gravier.
Mayor, council, in November of '24, the council approved a contract for scope of services with JMT for $307,000 for the design of a clarifier similar in design to the existing clarifier, the round concrete structure that exists on the complex today. Over the course of time, the town changed directions in terms of what it wanted to construct for a clarifier at the water plant, and decided to move to a different design that is a plate settler design that the council has been briefed on and seen workups regarding. In late winter, February 27th, JMT submitted an addendum to that initial contract where the scope of services now involve the design and of the new plate settler clarifier. There are some other things listed here that weren't in the initial contract as it relates to the facility for the clarifier and also for the grading and stormwater. The cost for this is $20,000 more than what's currently in the budget, or what was budgeted for the $307,000, but those dollars currently exist in the clarifier line in today's budget. You have the scope. It's an addendum, does not require our signature or their signature, and you have it for consideration at this point in time.
Okay, we're just voting on the change, really.
Yes, essentially.
The amendment.
You've already reviewed and decided to vote and go with the clarifier as a plate settler.
Okay. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
Just a quick question on procedurally on the document we received. Should that be called a change order or an amendment? I don't think it was titled that.
It wasn't titled, and that caused some confusion. It should have been entitled an addendum, not an amendment.
Yeah, I would just ask them to correct that so that we tie to the terms and conditions.
Okay.
And that's just procedural.
All right.
That'd be my ask.
Okay.
Cliff, my question, just on the total cost, it's an incremental 20,000 over what was originally?
It's a
or-
$20,000 difference, yes.
Okay, it's not, okay, thank you.
Okay.
So.
An increase in the 307.
Got it.
Okay.
So Cliff, we talked about this, I think, offline, but I think it says that the schedule, and they're building off of the previous comment, that the schedule's pretty much true as in the.
The schedule presented in this is accurate,
Right,
yes.
there's no, excellent.
Right.
So I would
And
say
the
we're-
schedule indicates that the bid will be awarded of February 27th.
Great.
Yeah, so the process is already in
Yes.
the works.
Again, because it was an addendum and the initial was approved by council.
Understood. Understood. Okay. Any questions from the audience? This is an important project for the town, as you would gather. I know this is the design part of it. Construction will be coming up at a later time. And as you may have remembered, that we already have an approved loan through the state at 2%? Is that correct?
It's 2 point something, isn't it, Terry?
At a very good rate.
2.2, yes.
Right. So this basically, the town has no debt at this point. We actually paid off our last debt, which was the tower, at the end of 2025. So this will, in essence, basically be replacing what we've already been paying off for years, which was the tower. So you won't see any effect on your bills. But we will be getting a new clarifier, which we desperately need. And it is a clarifier that provides backup too. So if we have to take down a portion of it, there's another section of it that will fit in and we won't have any outages. We won't have to rely on other towns around us, although we certainly can. I don't know whether you're aware, but our water systems are all interconnected between us and Tidewater and Sussex Water to the north of us, so that we support each other in case of an emergency or something goes down. So, okay.
And Mayor, this also includes the building to cover that, right?
Yes.
So that's
The
another-
design of the building.
The design of,
Yes.
the design of the building, so that we actually, it's another layer of security from a.
Yes, the design of the building is a part of the scope, but it's not
Right.
part of the borrowing. The borrowing is for the clarifier.
Right.
The building will be borne by the town.
Okay. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Discussion, consideration, and possible vote on a contract for EOD services through the Delaware State Police in the amount of $75,014.10.
That should have been worded a little bit differently. There's no contract. What we have is an open purchase order. And because the amount is over $40,000, fiscal asked that we go through this process. So as I think I've explained to a couple of council people, this is for the EOD officers that are present for our bandstand performances. The way this works is that the entity that arranges for their attendance bills us after they've worked so many shows or so many hours. And they do not enter into a contractual arrangement because they're not always sure, given circumstances and their assignments, whether they can provide officers. So fiscal just asked that we approve this again because of the dollar amount. I would note that the $75,000 is offset by a $15,000 grant that the police department was able to obtain to help with the cost, and that Chief Foley did a yeoman's job in working with the people that administer this pay job program for the state police and having them bring their costs down to this number, which was much higher initially.
Okay. Can you clarify what EOD stands for? Sorry if I was
No. So
It's the bomb squad.
Yes, it's the bomb squad. The acronym escapes me at the moment, so it's, yes, ordnance disposal.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. Okay. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second. Any discussion?
Cliff, this is for past,
this is for future.
oh, this is for the future.
This is for future.
The ones that were here early on, we've already paid that bill.
No, this is part of
This is
that.
all part of that?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Early on, you mean this season?
For the whole
Yes.
season? Yeah, okay.
Is there any discussion from the audience? Okay. Those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Next order of business, discussion and consideration for possible vote on setting a date for the town council election, Saturday, September 12th, 2026. Mayor.
Our town charter establishes the date for our election as the first Saturday after Labor Day. Anyone wishing to file as a candidate for election must file a written notice of intent, an application for candidacy in the town manager's office, which is essentially out here at the front desk in Town Hall, no later than 4:30 p.m. on Wednesday, July the 29th, 2026. Do we have a motion?
Second.
Discussion. I think this is something we do every year, so. Okay, those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Discussion, consideration, and possible vote on changing the hours of the town election from 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. to new hours of 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Mr. Gravier.
Mayor, Council, we would like the council to consider changing the times that our polls are open from noon to 6 to 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. I know many of you have spent many hours out here. We know that we have during an election cycle, during election day, and know that when the polls first open, we're very busy, and know from about 2, 3 o'clock on that the attendance and people coming in really falls off. We're wondering, in conjunction with the show that's here on the boardwalk, if we might raise attendance and interest by changing the hours. We're obligated to have the polls open for 6 hours, but the times the council can decide the times, and change that from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. And would like the council to consider that.
Okay. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second. Discussion.
Cliff, we did this 10 to 4 time for the clarifier vote last year, right?
Yes.
And it was popular. At 10 o'clock, there was a line of people
And
waiting to
it was more steady throughout the day,
Right.
yes.
And I know, as you mentioned, that those that are running, it gets a little boring for the last 2 hours.
Well, that's not why we're doing it, so.
There's nothing boring about running here, that's for
No,
sure.
No, but
Yeah.
the final hours can be a little dragging. Okay, those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Discussion and consideration for possible vote on the appointments to the election board and election officers. Mayor?
Council, you have the list of the proposed board members and officers. Most are repeating service from previous years, so, we know them, and they've done a very good job in the past. So do we have a motion to accept the board members and officers? And a
Second.
Okay, discussion? Anybody got anything to say? Those in favor? Aye. Motion carries.
Discussion and consideration for possible vote on setting a date for the town council organization meeting Monday, September 20th, 2026 at 10 a.m. September 21, sorry.
With there being a charter requirement for this meeting to be held as early as possible after one business week following our town election on September the 12th, September the 21st, which is a Monday, is the date we normally do it. And by custom, we normally do it at 10 a.m. in the morning. Do I have a motion?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Those in favor?
And last but not least, consider a motion to go into executive session to discuss personnel matters pursuant 29 Delaware C 1004B 9 and 6 relating to personal matters. Mayor.
I don't really have anything to discuss on that, but do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, those in favor? Aye. Well, that concludes our meeting for today. I'd like to thank everybody for coming, and those who came online. Enjoy our Bethany summer, and happy 4th of July.